So for this video, I've decided to do what I've seen some other people do, which was kind of fun, which is go through Goodreads for books that I love from this year and read reviews that are horrible. So this is going to be 1 to 2 star reviews. I'm going to try to find some funny ones. For the most part, this is just going to be reading reviews, shitting on books that I enjoy. So first up, I'm going to start off with some Brandon Sanderson, since that makes up a lot of what I've read this year. And I'm going to start with some Mistborn Era 1. So this first one, I actually think is kind of funny, because this person hated the book, but one of their critiques is very valid, which is not this first part, because juvenile, no character development, no characters I cared about, unappealing plot. Now, I disagree with all of that. However, if I had read the words "flared this" or "burned that" one more time, I would have destroyed the book. This also ends perfectly. Extra star given because I finished the book, and I only did that because I was mad I spent $9 on it, and I was hoping for something to justify its well-reviewed reputation. I guess it saved me from wasting my money on the sequels. I didn't have to scroll long to find this one. It was when the thief and the mage pulled out a whiteboard and started drawing a flowchart of how to conquer the fantasy kingdom that I realized, wait, I'm just reading some bastard's D&D campaign. I am not sure what purpose fiction serves, but I am positive this is not it. Here's a good 1 star. In this novel, there are 444 nods of the head, 299 smiles, 200 frowns, 152 shakes of the head, 166 glances, 120 sighs, 93 shrugs, 50 raised eyebrows, 31 pairs of rolled eyes, and 5 uses of the words maladroit. Now, this person clearly dedicated entirely too much time to counting these up, because I didn't know any of that. And this last one, piece of crap, a romantic flick. What did romance movies do to you, bro? All right, I lied. There's one more. Because I have to point out that this person felt the need to include something of their personal life, which is just funny to me, which is DNF'd at 129 pages. I'm familiar with alchemy. I don't even want to read the rest of this. Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? Okay, next. We're going to do Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is still arguably my favorite book I've read this year. Maybe Words of Radiance is beating that out now, but I have a soft spot in my heart for the Red Rising series, even though I did not really enjoy book 1 for most of it. Golden Sun kicked ass. Okay, this book does not deserve to win the 2015 Goodreads Choice Awards, but it might make a nice coaster for my drink. Come here. You stop that right now. This one's funny to me, not only because they didn't like the book, but because it's basically an F you to Goodreads. 1 star, a very long and disappointing story. In fact, too long to finish for characters I don't care about. 0 out of 10 stars. Take that, Goodreads. 1 star. I did it. This isn't a particular one. I see a lot of 1-star reviews calling this book boring. What book did you read? Ooh, let's go into The Wheel of Time. Yeah, guys, I know. I haven't read it in a while. I keep getting shit for it. I'm going to read it again, okay? But let's talk about The Eye of the World. And let's see. I'm going to skip all the lazy reviews that are like, oh, this is a Lord of the Rings ripoff. Let's start with this one. At about page 300, I was hoping the Trollocs would catch up with Rand, kill him and all of his friends, and just end it already. Damn. You're a third of the way through Eye of the World, and you already want everybody to die. This guy clearly likes being dramatic. Stop looting Tolkien's grave! Didn't bother reading. The intro is so boring. What? All right, so let's piggyback off of The Eye of the World and read what is still currently my favorite Wheel of Time book, The Shadow Rising, which is book 4. So I want to see if people have made it this far in the series and just absolutely hate it. All right, so here's a 1 star. I give up. A floundering of characters Jay care not about. Who's Jay? Is that supposed to be Ja Rule? Somebody get Ja Rule on the phone. Oh, here's going to be a juicy one. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter, which I gave 5 stars on Goodreads, and I absolutely love this book. And I know a lot of people love it. Recently, I've dealt with a lot of you misguided folks on the internet and in Discords around the globe who do not like this book. It's fine. We're all entitled to have incorrect opinions from time to time. Starting with 1 star. Tao's an insufferable twat. And this book is the same 20-page fight scene over and over and over again. That's not entirely untrue. What? Here's a spicy one. 1 star. Capital and bolded. Crap. Confused liberal escaped his cage and left this scribble behind. Managed to read up to 24% and then gave up. Let's see if we can find some for the Dresden Files, which I will do Stormfront, because I absolutely loved this when I read it. And it's got a lot of reviews. So there's got to be somebody shitting on it that's funny. Okay, 1 star. Does Harry Dresden wear a fedora? Asking for a friend. 1 star. WTF? Got to halfway and decided to give up. I'll stick with the more famous wizard named Harry, if future. If you were 12 and don't like good writing, you might enjoy this novel. And finally, in celebration of the Stormlight Archive and the Rhythm of War coming up, let's read some terrible reviews for The Way of Kings. Now, I'm not going to read this entire one that came up first, because it's long. However, the beginning's a little funny. If you have to read The Way of Kings, which you shouldn't do, but if you have to, because your dad gave it to you, and he's your dad, I recommend you do so while a little drunk. It makes this book a lot more fun. Oh man, here's a random sexist hot take. I just think men should stop writing fantasy. Honestly, I might lower this to a 1. You can all fight me. I don't care. You hear that, male fantasy authors? Y'all should just stop. I choose to think that this person wrote this while singing Bon Jovi. This is what gives the fantasy genre a bad name. If there was one phrase I would use to sum up the Stormlight Archive, paraphrasing here after only reading 1 book, and he's paraphrasing the entirety of the Stormlight Archive, of which there are only 3 of 10 books out so far. But let's go ahead and sum up the entirety of the Stormlight Archive. It would be a poor man's juvenile Game of Thrones. Yeah, because that's a sensible comparison, guys. He has absolutely no edge in his writing. Read like a middle grade book. First off, these are not middle grade books. These are very much adult fantasies. Except for any chapter that has to do with Lift. Moving on. I don't know what the hell this means, but Sanderson is the fantasy equivalent of a donut making machine as opposed to a carefully cultured bakery. That's probably the first and only time I have ever heard Brandon Sanderson referred to as a donut machine. All right, this last one I find hilarious simply because it's as if the person is arguing that everything should be wrapped up in 1 book when this is going to be a 10-book series. 1 star. Too many characters to keep track of. Just not that many characters. And too many storylines. Again, there's about as many storylines as there are characters. It's not that many. Most of them left hanging. It's the first book of a series. Probably as incentive to read the rest if the serious. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the gaps here. For those of you at home, this is stating that it's probably an incentive for you to keep reading the series. That is obviously true because this is book 1 of 10. Now, if you'd like that explained further, see, there's these things that authors do sometimes where they don't always write a standalone story that's completed at the end of book 1. So the Stormlight Archive, for those of you watchers at home, is a 10-book series. This is book 1. There are currently 3 books out. There's about to be a 4th book out, all the way up to 10. Now, see, what happens is when you introduce characters and plots and storylines in the first book of the series, of a 10-book series, you don't usually wrap it all up in the first one. But I didn't enjoy it enough for that. That's obvious. There was too much senseless violence and abuse of both humans and animals for my taste. Life is short. This book is not. It's true. On balance, it would seem foolish to spend my few remaining years on this series when learning the Encyclopedia Britannica by heart would be so much more entertaining. Well, damn, dude. Okay, sorry. One more. I lied. This is going to be the last one, okay? Because comments like this just get me. So I've complained in the past about epic fantasy being a little bit slow at the start, which I've learned to deal with because obviously it is. You're introducing a lot. This person says, gave up in chapter 1. Chapter 1. Too much detail and not enough explanation on things in a high fantasy world. This person gave up on chapter 1 of The Way of Kings because there's too much detail and no explanation. Let me reiterate. This was chapter 1 of the book, and not everything's explained yet, people. What are these lazy male fantasy authors doing by not explaining the entirety of the world in chapter 1? All right, I hope you all had a little bit of fun with this. I just wanted to do something kind of silly here and read some Goodreads reviews of books that I've read this year that I love. I've seen a few people do things similar to this, so I wanted to give it a shot myself. So I hope you all enjoyed. Like and subscribe. As always, catch me in my Discord if you want to chat further. Join the Patreon if you do enjoy the content and you want to support the channel. And until next time, everybody, keep reading.